Dwight Manfredi, a New York mafia capo who is released from prison after serving 25 years sentence. Dwight Manfredi is eager to re-establish himself in the mafia world. Instead of being welcomed back with open arms, his mafia family essentially exiles him to Tulsa, Oklahoma, to set up operations. This was supposed to be a punishment rather than an opportunity. The mafia sees little value in him anymore, considering his age and the years he spent in prison. Once in Tulsa, Dwight begins assessing the small town, realizing that the criminal scene is largely underdeveloped. He quickly identifies a marijuana dispensary run by Bodie, a laid-back and somewhat naive local. Dwight wastes no time in intimidating Bodie into a partnership, ensuring that he takes a percentage of the dispensary's profit. Dwight's old-school methods and tough persona make it clear that he isn't messing around. He begins to carve out his new empire from ground up, but the cultural clash between New York's mafia and Tulsa's laid-back environment becomes immediately evident. As Dwight continues to settle in Tulsa, he expands his operation. He recruits more people into his crew, including Tyson, a young, ambitious cab driver who becomes Dwight's go-to man. He also forges connections with Mitch, an ex-con who runs a local bar. Dwight, despite being out of the game for a long time, proves he hasn't lost his touch when it comes to intimidate and control people. Meanwhile, Dwight begins a complicated relationship with Stacy Beale, an ADF agent. They initially meet under casual circumstances and begin a romantic fling. Stacy does not know that Dwight is a mobster, and Dwight does not know that Stacy is law enforcement. As Dwight's empire starts to grow, he makes more enemies. The local biker gang, led by Waltrip, who controls much of the criminal activity in the area, begins to see Dwight as a threat. The tension between the two groups builds as Dwight seeks to dominate all criminal enterprises in Tulsa. Meanwhile, Stacy starts to grow suspicious of Dwight's activities. After realizing he is not just a regular businessman, Dwight's ambitions continue to rise and he becomes more ruthless in his quest to expand his influence. Dwight's plans come into conflict with Waltrip and his biker gang. Waltrip warns Dwight to back off, but Dwight's tough guy persona doesn't allow him to submit to anyone's threats. Dwight finds out his daughter was wronged by one of the gang members while he was in prison. Dwight's old mafia instincts kick in and he makes him pay for what he did to his daughter. As Dwight gains more power and expands his influence, his streetwise tactics serve him well, but they also attract unwanted attention. Tensions with Waltrip's gang escalate, leading his gang members to have some confrontations with the law. His estranged daughter Tina continues to resent him for his long absence due to prison time, but Dwight loves her and wants to make up for the lost time, showing that despite his tough exterior, he is haunted by his failures as a father. In Tulsa, Dwight is now full control of his operations. However, the tension between him and the bikers reaches a boiling point that puts everyone at a risk. Stacy's suspicion about Dwight's involvement in Tulsa's criminal underworld are confirmed. Waltrip, now fully against Dwight, makes his move, planning to eliminate him once and for all. Meanwhile, Pete, the mafia boss back in New York, becomes more concerned about Dwight's rise in Tulsa. Stacy begins to distance herself from Dwight, but her feelings for him still cloud her judgment. When Waltrip launches a full-blown attack on his operations, a brutal and bloody battle ensues between Dwight's crew and Waltrip's gang. However, Dwight proves his leadership and strategic brilliance, taking out key figures in the biker gang and further cementing his control over Tulsa. The rising heat from law enforcement cannot be ignored. She arrests Dwight in a dramatic twist, showcasing the consequences of Dwight's actions and how even his closest relationships can turn against him. Dwight is forced to reckon with his situation. Betrayed by Stacy and surrounded by enemies, he must figure out how to survive both in prison and in the criminal world. His old mafia connections remain strained, and his future in Tulsa is uncertain.